What's up guys, and welcome to this review of Star Wars: The High Republic, A Test of Courage by Justina Ireland. So, before I get into what I thought of this review, of this book should I say, let's get into what this book actually is. This is a young reader's book, so it's aimed at a much younger audience. It's a children's book, essentially. So, with that being said, you've got to come into this book with certain expectations. And, now for my opinion. As a Star Wars: The High Republic book, I think this is okay. Yeah, just okay. Again, the fact that it is a children's book does mean that it's on the simple side. There isn't a huge deal of story. The characters are fairly basic and stereotypical. There's not a lot of depth going on there. It is only 160 pages as well, so you really do fly by. It's very brisk and very enjoyable. But it is a very surface level story. It tells you exactly what's going on, exactly what it wants you to think and know about these characters, the story and the situation, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's perfectly fine for what it is. You've just got to go into it knowing that it's for a young reader and that it's not going to captivate everyone. It's not going to be a book for every Star Wars fan out there. Hell, it's not even a book for me. I'm much older than the target audience of this book, and that's important to note. Now, to talk about the story though, what's it actually about? Well, again, it's set in the High Republic period, around about the same time as the previous High Republic books at this point. The Legacy Run incident has happened. The Nihil are a known entity at this point. You've got this Jedi Padawan and a couple of other Jedi, as well as some like ambassadors and senatorial individuals, going on what's essentially a Star Wars equivalent of a cruise liner. Only the Nihil attack. And well, bad things happen. The cruise liner doesn't last long. I will reveal that little slight spoiler. And the rest of the novel is about this group of young teenagers essentially trying to survive both in space, on their own, and on this weird, strange little planet. That's the story in a nutshell. I basically only omitted how the story ends. And I'm not going to talk about how the story ends because, well, spoilers. So, the story, very straightforward, very basic. It starts off feeling a bit like the Poseidon Adventure, like a disaster movie, and it's really cool and interesting, only it doesn't last long because that's just the setup to the story. But otherwise, it's a very classic survival tale about this group of individuals who have to come together and learn each other's strengths and weaknesses and survive and cope. Only that's not quite how it goes down, because some of the characters are clearly more capable and more intelligent and more aware of what's going on than others. So basically it comes down to, hey, this Jedi Padawan has to save the day. This Jedi Padawan has to get everyone together and make sure they all survive. So it's all on this one individual, Vernestra, who is the best character in this book, by the way. But as a High Republic novel, one of the issues I had with the previous one, which is also on my channel now by the way, Star Wars: The High Republic Into the Light, or Into the Dark, I can't remember, I get confused. It doesn't feel like it's necessary to be in the High Republic time frame. This is just another Star Wars story. And I was thinking about this just the other day, that this would be a perfect 22-minute episode of a Star Wars animated show like the Clone Wars. Change the Nihil for the Separatists, bring it into the Clone Wars period, and there you go, you got a Star Wars: The Clone Wars episode. It's not necessarily going to be the greatest Star Wars Clone Wars episode ever, but it would be a pretty fine one. And that's a problem, because why does it have to be in the High Republic era? What's setting this apart from Star Wars stories we've told before? And quite frankly, nothing. It's just the Nihil. The Nihil are the only thing here that makes it have to be a High Republic story. And the Nihil are just pirates and bandits. The Nihil in this book, again, one of the criticisms I've got of the Nihil so far is that they are a little basic, like pirates and bandits and thugs and criminals. They don't have a huge deal of depth to them. The leadership does, but the actual grunts who are running things don't. They just feel like throwaway villains. And that doesn't change in this novel. But again, it's a kid's book, so you don't want to go too far with them in this particular book. One of the really strong elements of this book though that I really liked is the way in which it showcases how people deal with grief and loss. It really highlights how such events can impact people in different ways. So you see how one character is immensely sad by it all and almost depressed by it and is really upset and crying and thinking about all the happy memories they had with them, all of the things that they could have done, that they should have done, and so on and so forth. They've got regrets. And then there's another character who's actually more frustrated and angry about it, who actually wants to lash out and get vengeance and so on. It really does a good job of exploring the different mindsets and the different approaches to this. And then there's other characters who bottle it up and have to remain headstrong and lead everyone through this situation because they know that, hey, now's not the time to dwell on it. So it does a really good job of exploring that idea, those themes, and I think that's what the real shining light of this book is. But let's talk a little bit about characters. I said Venestra, the main character, is the most interesting one. But again, children's book, none of the characters in this book feel all that original. There are stereotypes in there. They are very archetypal characters. You've got this like snobby ambassador kid. You've got this like quirky, energetic child teenager who's up to mischief all the time, wants adventure and so on. They really are like type characters. There's not a lot to them. And it's worth saying that with the exception of one who was a droid, all of the characters are teenagers, they all are younger individuals, so again, trying to appeal to the younger audience that it's aiming for. But yeah, that's kind of all there is to say about this book, because again, children's novel, doesn't have a huge amount of depth, not a lot to say about the story, is very straightforward, very basic. And yeah, I did enjoy it. It is very brisk and fast-paced because it is a short book. One thing that I do want to mention though is that it's also got illustrations in there. I think there are about 3 or 4 in the whole book. They're quite good. I like the illustrations quite a bit, but they don't always feel necessary. The fact that there are so few of them is a problem. I just feel like this book, it should have either had less illustrations to the point of no illustrations, or more illustrations to really warrant there being illustrations to begin with. Because 3 or 4, they are really spread out, you kind of forget that they're there. So it is a question of living, but I do like that they are there, and I do like the ones that are there. But yeah, that's Star Wars, The High Republic, A Test of Courage. I liked it, I enjoyed it, but it is for a very specific audience. If you've liked this review, why not subscribe to my channel, and of course go over to my video game channel as well, Games with Grant, to catch all of my video game content. And on top of that, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @the_Grant Burton as well. Until next time though, that's all I've got to talk about today. Check out some of my other content, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.